With Apple's M2 chip being released to the market for a while now, and the expectation of an M3 chip coming very soon, which one should you buy? Well, my answer is going to shock you. And that answer is neither. And let me explain why. When Apple made the adjustments from Intel to their own M1 processors, it was probably one of the biggest performance jumps we've ever seen out of a Mac. You were getting benchmarks of $2,000 MacBook Pro M1 processors competing with a $40,000 Mac Pro Intel processor, and the internet just went crazy. I mean, people started having real debates about the M1 MacBook Pro versus the Intel Mac Pro. There was about a $40,000 difference, and although the Mac Pro, yes, was probably the better machine overall for a majority of heavy use cases, you could finally get a large amount of that performance in a laptop that you could bring anywhere and was a fraction of the price. And then Apple released the M1 Pro and the M1 Max chips, which completely stirred the pot on what's even possible in a portable laptop. This laptop was much more portable, much cheaper than the Mac Pro, and they finally put ports back on the laptop, which made it much more user-friendly, where people didn't have to carry around dongles with them all the time, HDMI, SD cards. Long story short, Apple made a massive leap in performance output, but there was an issue with that. When they made that giant step with the M1 Pro and the M1 Max chips, they kind of worked themselves into a bit of a corner, because where did they go from there? See, these computers at the time, if you fully maxed out one of these laptops, there's an expectation that you could probably have that computer for 5 to 10 years, and then Apple gets into this issue where you don't need to buy another computer for about a decade. And then last year, they released their M2 chips, and there was so much hype and there was so much excitement around how much more could they increase the performance. Well, that was the issue. The performance did not increase that much. Yeah, they added a few more cores to the chip, and yeah, maybe there was a slightly better output or slightly faster render in time, but that performance for that increase in price and the whole hassle of switching laptops, I don't think was worth it for anybody. I mean, you have creators like Marques Brownlee who still uses his M1 Max MacBook Pro. He didn't have to upgrade because it was already enough for him. And that's somebody who's filming an 8K raw video, they're doing video editing, different motion graphics, all of that, and they're still fine with that M1 Max chip. No need to upgrade to the M2 chip, no need to upgrade to the M2 Pro or Max chip, or the Ultra chip. So if you're somebody who's just maybe doing 1, maybe 2 streams of 4K, the baseline M1 Pro computer is going to be more than enough for you. And that's exactly what I bought. So about a month ago, I bought 2 computers. I bought the brand new M2 MacBook Air, and I bought a refurbished M1 Pro 14-inch MacBook Pro baseline. So for somebody like myself who's traveling a bunch, needs to be able to video edit, needs to be able to multitask, which computer was the better option for me? And you'll be surprised at how much the price difference actually was. And what I found was the M2 MacBook Air actually was enough to keep up with, let's say, about 80% of the tasks that I was taking. One of the issues that I found was when I was doing podcast editing, it started to bog down a little bit, but that's because I had about 3 streams of 4K footage and they were all about an hour long. And especially when you don't have fan cooling, it starts to get a little hot. And coming from somebody who used the Intel MacBook Pros, I started to get a little PTSD there. So then I switched over to the M1 MacBook Pro, the 14-inch, little bit bigger display, nicer display I may add, a little bit better speakers, and a little bit better cooling system. In all honesty, it was probably the best bang for your buck that I could possibly get. So I packaged up my M2 MacBook Air and sent it right back to Apple, and I've been using my M1 Pro 14-inch MacBook Pro as the daily driver. I've stopped using my Mac Mini, and this computer has just been absolutely amazing. I'm gonna be traveling soon, and this is gonna be able to come with me and edit everything on the go, and it's gonna be absolutely remarkable. That was one of my issues with the Mac Mini, is although it's a great and powerful computer, you just can't take it anywhere with you. But I don't think people should just gloss over the Mac Mini, because if you're looking for a desktop that you can set up at home, and that you're gonna be doing video editing, anything else on, this is the best bang for your buck. Hands down. You can get a brand new M2 Mac Mini for the price of an M1 MacBook Air. So if you're looking for a little bit more of that updated performance and a little bit more output from a plug-in desktop, trust me, Mac Mini, no other desktop's gonna beat it for the price range. No other desktop, you can't convince me. Let's do some quick performance and price comparisons of what Apple's offering right now. So if we go to the App Store, we can go to the site right here where we can compare Macs. So we have the MacBook Air M2, MacBook Air M1, and the MacBook Pro 14-inch M1 Pro and M1 Max chips. So let's take a look at these ones. So obviously they won't have the pricing for the 14-inch M1 Pros and the M1 Max chips because they don't sell them anymore, but you can see right here, they still sell the MacBook Air M1 for a price of $1,299, and then they sell the MacBook Air M2 for $1,499. Now, I did say you can find one for under $1,000, and I'm gonna show you how to real quick right here. So if you just go to Google and just type in M1 MacBook Air, You can see, you can go right here to the refurbished sites and get that for under $1,000. Go back to the Apple site, we can see the comparisons of the different computers. So different CPU capacities, different GPU capacities, and different RAM unified memory capacities. And if we go here for the memory, what I'll show you is my M2 MacBook Air that I got had the 16 gigabytes of memory, as well as the 512 gigabytes worth of storage. And the M1 Pro 14-inch MacBook Pro that I have also had the 16 gigabytes of unified memory, as well as the 512 gigabytes of storage. So what you can see here is I did get the baseline 14-inch MacBook Pro with these specifications. But if we go over here to the M2 MacBook Air, you can see that I upgraded the memory to 16 gigabytes where the standard was 8, as well as I upgraded the storage to 512, as before it was at 256. The one thing I will say that the older MacBook Air doesn't have that the two new computers do is the 1080p FaceTime HD cameras. And this, if you're doing a lot of Zoom calls, if you're doing a lot of conference calls, Microsoft Teams, whatever it may be, this might actually be a deciding factor for you between the old MacBook Air and the new one. Now that we've compared these laptops, let's go down to the bottom of the screen where we can enter into the refurbished section. So certified refurbished from Apple. Let's click on Macs, and we're going to go down to MacBook Pros as well as MacBook Airs and see what's possible. So right now you can see that you can get some M1 MacBook Airs for around $1,000. As we work our way down, you can even see that you can get some M2 MacBook Airs as well. So if you want to save $150, right there you go. If you're not a student, this might be a great option for you. But we're going to keep working our way down until we can hopefully find an M1 Pro or an M1 Max laptop. So we'll keep scrolling, and boom, there we go. And so this was the same laptop that I actually bought. So it's shocking to see that it's still up there. So you get free shipping. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna save about $450 on this baseline M1 Pro laptop. And that's a great deal. So that's just shy of about 20% savings right there, which is absolutely amazing for a computer that is still very powerful today and is going to be better than the MacBook Air, is probably going to be better than the M2 MacBook Pro, just the 13-inch. And for me personally, this is the best bet that you can get. As you can see, 512 gigabytes of storage, 16 gigabytes worth of memory, this awesome display, and was originally released about a year and a half ago. So me personally, I think this is the best bang for your buck that you can possibly get as a creator. If you know you're going to be dealing with multiple streams of 4K, this is going to be the laptop that you want. But if you're a student and you're just looking for simple processes and you just want a computer that's going to be able to last you 4 years, these ones right here are going to be the best bet in my opinion. They're around $1,000 Canadian, which is unheard of for a Mac laptop, and it's just one great direction to go. But before we leave, I just want to go over one thing as well, and I think this is the best bang for your buck desktop that you can possibly get. And they start at this amazing price of $800. It's not even worth getting the refurbished one because you can get a brand new one with the new M2 chip for this price. And if you're worried about the RAM and storage, you can always upgrade to this specification, which would be the same as the laptop. Although it might be scary to buy a used Apple product, just know that all the Apple refurbished products are all swept through. They're given new batteries if needed, new shells if needed, and if there's any issues, they do have a 1-year warranty. And a lot of the time, if there is an issue, you're gonna notice it right out of the box. So if you have an issue with the unit, you can return it, get a new unit, get right back to the work that you need to be doing. The only issue with the refurbished section is you don't get enough freedom to specify the computer. So if you want a computer with a certain amount of storage and RAM combination, they may or may not have it. But if you don't see anything on the computer, my recommendation is just try to look every week because they will update. I know when I was looking for this, it was up one day, down the next, and then up the following. And it's really random because it's just things that keep coming back into Apple, things move around, things get returned again and again. You never really know what's gonna actually be on the refurbished site. But I've had more than enough success with the M1 Pro baseline MacBook Pro for myself. I've edited all the videos on this, no proxies, it's always been the best quality, never best performance, and I've really never had an issue. Now the issue that I may face is over time, the battery degrades a little bit more because it's an older laptop, and the performance doesn't keep up with technology. But my hope is that I can keep this baseline model for as long as I possibly can, get some amazing use out of this. Oh, and for you guys wondering, the M1 MacBook Air and this M1 Pro 14-inch MacBook Pro that I have were like an $80 difference. And that was using the student discount on the MacBook Air. If you don't use the student discount on the MacBook Air, the M1 Pro was actually cheaper. How crazy is that? Although I think each computer has its own case use. Like if you're a student, MacBook Air is probably going to be your best bet. If you're a video editor, MacBook Pro or Mac Studio or anything along those lines are probably going to be your best bet as well. Figure out what might be best for you now and 5 years from now, because we really are in a time where you can buy computers that can be 5-year proof. I mean, I don't see Instagram and TikTok allowing 8K footage on their websites anytime soon. Maybe 4K someday soon when phone screens update, but that's probably going to be 5+ years from now anyways. And the last thing to consider is that I think MacBook prices are only going to go up. I mean, we don't talk about inflation enough on technology. So let's just say that all Mac products are going to go up with inflation about 10 to 20%. Well, now that cancels out your student discount, and if you're able to get a refurbished product for under MSRP from when it actually released, you're just saving so much more money. And that 1-year warranty with the Apple product really helps you have faith that you can use it for at least that year without it breaking down. Or you can use it for a few months and just see if there's any issues. See if any of the GPUs are burnt out, see if there's a battery issue, keyboard issue, whatever it may be. You have the time to figure it out. But with all that being said, I'm just trying to save everybody some money. Have a great rest of the day.